Welcome to another edition of the Recruiting Scoop. I'm Jarret Johnson. I'm coming to you from my home office. Hope everybody's safe out there. This time I want to talk about Texas Tech basketball recruiting and specifically how the Red Raiders are hitting the transfer market, both traditionally and obviously grad transfers. That's something that Coach Beard has done really throughout his career, especially Arkansas Little Rock and at Texas Tech. Obviously, great fanfare with what Matt Mooney and Tariq Owens did during that that Big 12 championship season, that run to the national title game. Look, I think Beard's always going to target grad transfers. He's always going to look to stay experienced and have experience on the roster that way to augment all the talent he's bringing in from the high school ranks. It's been widely reported, including by us, about this great recruiting class the Red Raiders are bringing in. But look, they're going to augment it through the transfer market and through the grad transfer market. I want to give you one each of a traditional transfer target that I really like, and then a grad transfer target that is really intriguing to me. Now, look, in terms of the traditional transfer route, which means basically the way the rules are right now, that the player would have to sit out a year like Joel Ntambwe did this past year after transferring in from UNLV if he doesn't get a waiver from the NCAA. So the guy I'm really intrigued by is Jamarius Burton out of Wichita State. He is a 6'4" combo guard who averaged over 10 points, almost 4 rebounds, and 3 assists for the Shockers last year. He's a two-way player known for playing excellent on-the-ball defense. He's over 44% shooter from the field. I mean, he is exactly the type of fit that Coach Beard looks for in a guard. Really like Burton. I really like his game. Really like what he could potentially bring to the Red Raiders. He has set a commitment date of Monday, this upcoming Monday, which would be April 13th. He's down to 4 schools. I think there's 2 schools squarely in the mix right now, and I think that's Texas Tech and Xavier. That's the word. So it'll be interesting to see who he picks. If he picks the Red Raiders, it'll be interesting to see if they apply for a waiver again, which I think they will. And then there's some rules being talked about. And I don't know how the coronavirus, how everything being shut down has affected this, but there have been some rules that have picked up steam, or idea of doing away with the 1-year sit rule, or at least giving you a one-time opportunity. And this is across all sports, men's and women's, football, basketball, whatever, baseball, you name it. But as long as you fall under the certain criteria, like you remain eligible, you weren't any kind of documented disciplinary problems, but as long as you fall under the criteria, you would be allowed to transfer one time without having to sit out for a year. Now, that hasn't been passed yet, but it was picking up steam, and there was a thought that maybe it could be enacted in time for next year, or maybe for the first of 2021, which, how would that affect Burton's eligibility? We'd have to see. But all that is up in the air. I think Burton makes a lot of sense for a lot of reasons for Texas Tech, so we'll have to see which way he decides. Now, in terms of the grad transfer route, which of course would mean the athlete would be immediately eligible to play, Matt Harms out of Purdue, makes a lot of sense to me. Now, I don't know how interested he is at Texas Tech. I just know that Texas Tech is interested in him. They are one of, dozens of schools who have reached out to the 7'3" center, and for good reason. The guy averaged about a little over 8, almost 9 points, 6 rebounds, 2 blocks a game last year. Some of you Red Raider fans may remember him when Tech played Purdue in the Sweet 16 a couple years ago. The Keenan Evans year, Zach Smith year. He was the guy who was constantly fixing his hair. But he's a 7'3" shot blocker, rim protecting guy who's athletic enough to switch and do some of the things that Texas Tech wants to do on defense. And offensively, he could be a junkyard dog, finished at the rim kind of guy that really Tech didn't have from their big guys this past season. So, Matt Harms checks a lot of boxes for the Red Raiders, but he does for a lot of programs, which is why so many schools are interested in him. So we'll have to see how it plays out. But those are 2 guys. Tech is kicking the tires on several targets, both the traditional route and grad transfers. But those 2 guys really stand out to me. They're intriguing guys. You get those 2 guys, man, and especially if Burton could somehow be eligible for next year, this roster would just be unbelievable. It could be, honestly, even without these guys, but with these guys, eligible, it could be another national title run type roster, and contend for a Big 12 title roster. So really exciting things as always happening for Chris Beard and the Red Raider basketball program. But thank you for watching, and until next time.